Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Mike's DVDs and Blu-rays collection. Today I got some new Blu-rays and to show you. Um, Now today I'm spotlighting the 1980s comedies. These are some comedies from the 1980s on Blu-ray that I have. A couple of these are new, and the one of them I've pulled off the shelf to show you to kind of go with it. But yeah, these are some great movies. A lot of these are comedies. Actually, I think maybe all of these are comedies. Well, except for two. But basically, these are all 1980 movies. Movies from the 1980s. Movies we grew up with. If you're about my age, where you're in your early 40s, you more than likely saw these on TV a lot. Anybody who grew up with HBO and TV like that, this stuff was on there all the time. Legendary stuff. I mean, these classic stuff from the 80s. So enough yapping. Let's go right to it. Picked this up recently on Amazon. This is the two movie collection of Airplane and Airplane 2, the sequel. This is really cool. This is the Don't Call Me Shirley edition that they had previously released. This is a new version, I believe they released recently, but I got the double edition because I've never had Airplane 2 on any kind of format, so I got that. Funny stuff. I grew up with the humor of the Zucker brothers. Was it David and Jerry Zucker and Jim Abrams? Legendary stuff. They made first they got started in the 70s with a movie called the Kentucky Fried Movie, which is, it just blew me away when I saw that as a gosh, I don't know how old was I. I was very impressionable, I know, and but the humor was so funny. It was around the time I got a camcorder. Um, and I was, it didn't take me long to figure out, hey, I can pretend to make movies, or make movies on this with my sister and friends and everything. So it didn't take me long. But after seeing the Kentucky Fried Movie, it was like, I can do that. All it is a movie with a bunch of spoofs and little fake commercials and all kinds of funny stuff put together. And it's like, so perfect humor for a 14-year-old, maybe. I don't know when I first saw this. Maybe I was 13 or something. But gosh, but Airplane and Airplane 2, man, I saw them back when I was like 7 or 8 years old. These are funny stuff. I remember renting Airplane like on beta. We went to a early video store. Now these were before the, big box video stores, the Blockbusters, the Hollywoods, the different ones where there was like mom and pop places that got into the video craze of the 80s, the early 80s, and they would have little shops, and you'd walk up some stairs and go into this place, and they had wall-to-wall stuff, and you could rent things. And then, a few years later, those same places would have video games, and you could go rent video games. When Nintendo got real big, the NES, the first one, and everything. I kind of miss those days of the mom and pop thing, mom and pop shops and stuff. But anyways, I remember my parents renting it, and it was just hilarious. I mean, a lot of this stuff went over my head at a young age, but I saw this so many times that it has not aged a bit. It is just so funny. I mean, it's basically they're doing a send up of the airplane movies, the airport movies from the 1970s, which were disaster movies. I think the first one came out in 1970, big hit, and then there was like Airport 2 and Airport 3, and uh, big deal. So they were coming off of spoofing those movies onto this, and so funny. So funny. I mean, some of the stuff's silly, of course, you're older, but man, it is so funny. So Airplane 1 and 2. If you haven't already got it, go get it. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend you go see it. Next up was a Blu-ray that I got recently. I'm a big fan of Mad Max. I love Mel Gibson as Mad Max. The first Mad Max that came out, what was it, 79? George Miller's Australian classic. Love Mad Max. Probably one of my favorite movies. It's just so rewatchable. Just rewatchable. But when I was a kid, The Road Warrior, which is the second one, was probably... I love that movie. I loved The Road Warrior for so many years, but I think right now those are just two great movies. I'm really loving on Mad Max, which, I think there's a big 4K edition coming out of Mad Max here soon. So with all, I had Mad Max 1 and 2, The Road Warrior, but I never had Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Really grew up with this movie, this came out in 85. By 1985, as a kid, it was like you were fully aware of things. You were fully aware of, the newest movies coming out, and music, and you kind of knew the things you liked then. You know what I mean? It's like you finally knew, you kind of know what music you like, and you know what kind of movies you like and stuff. But I was fully aware of this movie. 1985, this came out, big hit, Back to the Future came out and all this different stuff, but especially the soundtrack with Tina Turner, she did the soundtrack. The video was on MTV just nonstop. But yeah, it's a more polished Mad Max. It's the story lacks some stuff. It doesn't have the edge. The grittiness, the punch of the previous two Mad Max movies. Even Mel Gibson's character, and he's got you can almost see he's got hairspray in his hair. He's got his 1985 look going. It's like you don't look anything like you did before. It's just, I don't know. It's just some things kind of irritating, but it has a great scope to it. It has a lot of great. Art direction and a lot of stuff going for it and everything, but it just at 107 minutes it just seems like it's too short for some reason. It just, I don't know, the story gets going and then it kind of stops and gets, but I mean, it's not bad. I mean, it was kind of crapped on out of the three movies, but it's really a good movie. But it's not as good as Mad Max and Road Warrior, I can tell you that. But I had to get it to complete my trilogy and everything. Now, recently I got this movie. Now, this was a movie I never watched back in the late 80s. I believe this came out in 1989, and it's The Burbs with Tom Hanks. I don't know why. I never caught this. Maybe I did watch it on HBO once. But it just, for some reason, I was starting to get into, film, seriously get into movies, in film history and different stuff, and I guess I wasn't, I was watching other things, or I was distracted by other things, and I just never did watch this. I mean, it's a really darkly funny movie. Tom Hanks, probably one of the last few movies that he would really use that comic edge that he has, that because he's a very funny comedian. He can be very funny. Because I grew up watching movies with him in it, like Bachelor Party, which is so underrated. Bachelor Party, and gosh, a few movies throughout there. Volunteers, or something. He did one with John Candy. Or a couple with John Candy, I think. I don't know. But he's very funny. And, of course, he started out in sitcom on TV, in comedy. So he's a very funny person. Yeah, it's a Joe Dante movie. Somehow or another, I skipped over it. I would, though, one of the next Joe Dante movies, Matinee. When that came out, I was on board for it. I really dug it, loved it. But for some reason, I kind of skipped over this. I don't know why. But yeah, it's funny. It's got a great cast: Bruce Dern, Carrie Fisher, Rick Dukeman was a hilarious comedian. He didn't. I don't think he was in a whole ton of movies. But yeah, I remember watching him do stand up before this movie because I was big into stand up, watching stand up comics and stuff. But, stand up comedians were very popular in the late 80s. It was like a huge boom of them. Also, Corey Feldman's in this, which is pretty cool. But yeah, Jerry Goldsmith's music, director of photography, Robert Stevens. But yeah, it's a great movie. I would even say it's kind of a sleeper, kind of a cult classic nowadays. So I really enjoyed it, watching it all these years later. I don't know why it took me so long, and I guess I just didn't really see it in the preceding years. The previous years I just never saw it. I don't know. Movies happen like that with me sometimes. So the next movie, I'm a big fan of John Carpenter. I've been getting a lot of his Blu-rays over the years, and DVDs, and even Laserdiscs. I've been collecting John Carpenter stuff. One movie that I never could get on Laserdisc. I almost got on Laserdisc a few times, and I just didn't. I don't know if the price was high. There's different versions out, so I just kind of waited on it. So the Scream Factory put out this Blu-ray of Starman. This is one of the movies that I didn't have of John Carpenter's. I've seen it a dozen times. It's great movie from 1984. Great performance by Jeff Bridges, Karen Allen, Richard Jacquiel is in this. Music by Jack Nitzsche. But yeah, great movie. Very rewatchable. It's got such a good warmth, heart to it. It's really good. But yeah, it was one of the ones I hadn't got. But now I can add this to my Blu-ray and DVD collection of John Carpenter movies, and it's a great movie. I recommend this from Scream Factory. I believe I picked this up at Walmart, and it was under $10. They had a few of them, but they're not there now. But I got this a few months ago. Highly recommend that Starman if you've never seen it. And finally, guys, a movie. Found this at the dollar store of all places. I did a small little dollar store pickup video. And this was one of the movies in there. This is one of my all-time favorite movies when I was a kid. Loved it. Gremlins. This is also from 1984. This is a Steven Spielberg produced movie. Also by Joe Dante. Yeah, also another Joe Dante movie. I forget that. But this was with, I think, Amblin Entertainment with Steven Spielberg and Kathleen Kennedy as partner. But yeah, this is one of these strange Diamond Lux editions where it's like this very hard plastic, very shiny. I don't know if it's reflecting right now, but it's very shiny. Opens up. Open it up, but it kind of seals together pretty good. But yeah, this is of the 30th anniversary edition. And yeah, it opens up to like it's really nice actually. It's pretty cool. I don't know if I would have these for all movies, like they were all like this all of a sudden. I don't think I would like that, but very interesting edition. I have Natural Born Killers also in this Diamond Lux. So I don't know if this is something just marketed towards the Dollar Generals. And I even see these in gas stations a lot, which is really odd, and I've never seen them anywhere else. But yeah, this is the 30th anniversary edition of Gremlins. Classic movie. Any kid from the 80s loves Gremlins. Such a cool story. It's a movie kind of takes place during Christmas, and they get this ancient Chinese guy, not ancient guy, but this Chinese guy gives The father, this inventor guy, is on a trip. He gets this gift. He buys it. He gets the Chinese guy to give it to him. He didn't want to at first, but he sold it to him because he wanted to give it to his son for Christmas. And it ends up, it's Gizmo. Gizmo gets wet. You know the rules, the 3 rules: water, no food after midnight, and sunlight. Well, of course, everything goes wrong. But yeah, it's such a great movie. This is the version that has the bonus features on it. It came out on 4K recently, and I've heard that it doesn't have the bonus features, and the 4K isn't all that. So the edition to have on Blu-ray is this edition. There's a regular edition, not this deluxe or Diamond Luxe edition. I guess it's supposed to be like a diamond finish, like a shiny, strong finish. But it's available. 30th anniversary edition is one to get, and this is on here in Blu-ray. I had a DVD of it for so many years, so I'm going to kind of compare the two and have these all new bonus features, which are really interesting. So I'll put this shiny little thing down there. But yeah, there's some movies from the 80s. I got 2 from 84, 89, 85, and what is it, 80, 81, 82, something like that, with the airplane movies. So yeah, there you go, guys. A bunch of stuff, and there's tons of stuff from the 80s now, looking back 30, 40 years later, that are classic now, that are just seem like... Sometimes it makes me feel old, because I am getting older, but grew up with some of this stuff. It's so good. If you're a collector out there, find this Diamond Luxe thing. I think it's really interesting to add to your collection. Definitely get the John Carpenters from Scream Factory on Blu-ray. I really highly recommend those and stuff. But yeah, all those other ones, you can get those from Amazon all day, every day. $5 and up, really cheap for those Blu-rays. Such a deal. So I highly recommend that. But yeah, I just grew up on so many of these movies now, and watching them and stuff, and they're still entertaining. Some movies from the 80s did not make it. They did not age well. But these aged pretty well, except for Mel Gibson's hair in Mad Max. Was it Beyond Thunderdome? I always want to call it something else. But yeah, but those all aged well, and I can still watch them. They're still great. So for you collectors out there, grab them up. And there we go, guys. That's all I have for today. Go out there and get those. If you liked my video, thanks for watching, by the way. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, subscribe. Hit that bell to be notified when I release videos. And comment if you have comments. And I will would love to hear from you. So anyway, guys, I got some movies to watch. And I will see you guys later. And thank you so much for tuning in. And I'll see you later.